Baha Abu al-Atta and his wife were killed as they slept in this building in Gaza. The Israeli airstrike was long in the planning, its repercussions just starting to play out. Abu al-Atta led Palestinian Islamic Jihad's northern military operation, a very senior figure and one Israel blamed for a series of rocket attacks in recent months.
These actions have started this morning after the crime was committed by Israel. Rockets were fired towards Tel Aviv, and Islamic Jihad, with all of the resistance groups, will continue targeting all safe places of the occupation.
Islamic Jihad said Israel had crossed all red lines and promised a bigger response than usual. One rocket exploded on a busy highway near Gaza, a near miss for those in passing cars and for those in a bus waiting at the intersection. In the southern town of Sderot, a factory suffered a direct hit, and rockets also targeted central Israel, restricting businesses and leading to blanket school closures from the Gaza border areas to Tel Aviv. Israel's prime minister, who's leading a second straight caretaker government after a second inconclusive election, said his country was not seeking an escalation. And he was careful to indicate politics hadn't entered into the decision to strike, one he said was recommended by the military and the Internal Security Agency.
The final decision was unanimously agreed on in the Cabinet 10 days ago, and the Cabinet gave me authority to implement it at a time that would be suggested by the IDF and the Shabak. The IDF and the Shabak indeed recognised the time. They recognised a window of opportunity to carry out the operation under the best conditions with a maximum chance of success and minimum impact on bystanders.
There was no Israeli comment, though, on another major strike overnight. This one in Damascus, targeting Islamic Jihad's second-ranking leader, Akmal al-Ajuri. Syria's state news agency said his son and granddaughter were killed. Islamic Jihad says Ajuri survived.
The size of the explosion is unacceptable. It affected many buildings. The explosion was so huge, it is unacceptable to hit a civilian area in such way.
Throughout the day, the rocket fire and airstrikes continued. Israel's military said it was targeting Islamic Jihad, perhaps a message that it wasn't seeking a direct confrontation with Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip and whose military wing represents Gaza's biggest fighting force. In his statement on Tuesday, Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel did not seek a wider escalation, yet he must have known that with a targeted assassination such as this and the inevitable rocket fire that would come in response, the risks were very high. Much now depends on how Hamas decides to respond. It has spoken up very strongly in solidarity with Islamic Jihad. If it matches those words with a big escalation in rocket fire as well, then the risks of a wider conflict only rise. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera, Southern Israel.